Lesson 19, SIAM and Other Practices, Part 1. Welcome to Lesson 19. In this lesson and Lesson 20, we'll look at some of the other practices, standards, and frameworks commonly used in a SIAM environment. For each practice, standard, or framework, we'll provide a short summary in case you aren't familiar with it, and then study its relevance. In this lesson, we'll study IT service management, Lean, and COBIT. There are many other management practices, standards, and frameworks that can support the implementation, operation, and improvement of a SIAM model. The foundation syllabus focuses on 5 of them. These were the 5 that were deemed to be the most common based on a survey of the SIAM Foundation Architect Group and the organizations that they work with. You can see examples of other practices, standards, and frameworks that aren't included in the SIAM Foundation syllabus on screen here. If any of these are used in your organization, you could do some further reading and research after completing this course. We'll start with IT Service Management, or ITSM. ITSM includes all the capabilities a service provider uses to implement and manage IT services, including people, processes, and technology. There are 2 ITSM practices that are relevant for SIAM: ITIL, ISO IEC 20000. Click on each one to learn more about it. ITIL is a popular approach to IT service management used all over the world. It provides guidance for IT organizations based around a service lifecycle, which includes service strategy, service design, service transition, service operation, continual service improvement. Many organizations that adopt SIAM will already have some ITSM processes in place, which could be based on the ITIL guidance. SIAM builds on these processes and practices and adapts them to address the challenges of a multi-service provider environment. As part of the plan and build roadmap stage, any existing processes need to be adapted and augmented to work across multiple service providers. Each of the ITIL lifecycle stages will need to be adjusted to meet the challenges of a SIAM environment. We'll study each of them briefly now. Click on each lifecycle stage to learn more. Within ITIL, service strategy sets direction and defines the required outcomes, then executes the strategic processes like financial management. Within a SIAM environment, the customer organization sets the strategy, but then the service integrator is accountable for delivering the outcomes, supported by the service providers. Execution of strategic processes will be shared between the customer and the service integrator. The service design lifecycle stage designs new and changed services to meet customer expectations. Within a SIAM environment, the customer will be accountable for the overall design and for approving investment. The service integrator will then execute design processes for end-to-end services and direct and coordinate the service providers carrying out design activities. The service transition lifecycle stage builds, tests, and deploys new or changed IT services. Within a SIAM environment, the customer will be accountable for strategic changes. The service integrator will be accountable for the successful deployment of changes, including coordinating and directing the service providers. The service providers will build, test, and deploy the changes that fall within their contractual scope, and work with other service providers and the service integrator to support the delivery of changes to the end-to-end service. The service operation lifecycle stage ensures live IT services are delivered to the required standard. Within a SIAM environment, the service integrator is accountable for the execution of operational processes and for directing and coordinating the service providers during activities like incident and problem management. The service providers are responsible for execution of process activities and for working with other service providers and the service integrator. The Continuous Service Improvement Lifecycle stage identifies, records, and implements improvements to services, processes, and technology. A culture of improvement needs to be embedded throughout the whole SIAM ecosystem, with a focus on a collaborative approach. ISO IEC 20000 is a standard for IT service management. It allows organizations to have their service management system and processes assessed by a third party to confirm they meet the defined requirements. Achieving the standard can be a competitive advantage, as some public sector tenders require service providers to hold certification. The service management system assessed as part of an ISO IEC 20000 audit includes services, organizations, and locations in scope, service management processes, service management policies, governance of processes operated by third parties. You can see the process areas included in ISO IEC 20000 here. The standard is based on the ITIL processes, but was developed from the perspective of a single service provider, not a SIAM environment. Service providers in a SIAM model who want to gain certification against the standard might find it difficult because it doesn't address collaboration, process integration, toolset integration, multi-organization governance models. A new version of the standard is in development, which will address multi-service provider environments. The implications of SIAM for organizations already certified to ISO IEC 20000 will include, for the customer organization, updating their service management system to include the service integrator and their role. For a service integrator, the standard won't assess their service integration capabilities. For a service provider, the standard will help them to develop processes and procedures, but there may be some areas where the requirements in the standard conflict with the requirements from the service integrator. The next area we'll study is lean. You might have heard of lean IT or lean manufacturing. You can see the definition of lean on screen here. Lean organizations will try to improve efficiency, reduce delays, reduce costs, and improve quality. Lean techniques will focus on removing waste from activities. Waste can include long wait times between process steps, queues. For example, requests for access to a system are queued, bottlenecks in process flows. Lean techniques will focus on removing waste. Applying lean to a SIAM model can help to reduce waste and increase value. When workflows span multiple organizations, delays, duplications, and bottlenecks can occur. Lean techniques should be applied to processes throughout the roadmap stages to identify areas for improvement, including, what does this process activity add? Does this activity duplicate any previous activity? Are there any times when the process stalls and no work is being carried out? For example, in many organizations, a team will complain that it produces reports that no one reads. If a report isn't adding any value, this should be identified and the report amended or terminated. The next area we'll study is COBIT. COBIT is a control framework for the governance and management of enterprise IT. The latest version of COBIT is COBIT 5. COBIT has 5 supporting principles, which are 1. Meeting stakeholder needs. 2. Covering the enterprise end-to-end. 3. Applying a single integrated framework. 4. Enabling a holistic approach. 5. Separating governance from management. The concept of end-to-end coverage and a single integrated framework are very relevant in a SIAM environment. COBIT also includes 7 supporting enablers, which you can see on screen here. Its guidance addresses a framework to organize IT governance objectives, process descriptions, control objectives, management guidelines, and maturity models. In a SIAM environment, governance and management of information is more complex because it spans the SIAM layers. The COBIT guidance can help to identify controls as part of the governance model. The table you can see on screen now shows how COBIT components map onto SIAM components. Click on the Next button to access your end-of-lesson quiz when you're ready. When you finish the quiz, click the Next button again to move on. That completes Lesson 19, where we've studied some of the other management practices, standards, and frameworks that support SIAM practices. We've looked at IT service management, Lean, and COBIT. In the next lesson, we'll look at SIAM and DevOps, and SIAM and Agile.